Okay, so I'll introduce myself again. My name is Jamie Murphy. I'm an RN. I work in the School of Nursing in the RN to BSN program. So I work from home online, which prompted me to get interested in the topic of ergonomics and staying active during the workday because I'm home every day now. Learned a little bit about just the hazards of sitting all day long. Okay, so we'll get started here. Okay, sorry about that. All right. And this is not moving. Okay, so the objectives for today, basically to understand the hazards of sitting all day long and poor ergonomics and how to improve that. Because if we can improve our workspace, we'll feel much better and also do a much better job at work. And some alternatives to sitting all day long. So we have all heard this saying, right? Sitting is the new smoking. It's out there in all the reports, so many of the research papers that I've read. The sedentary behaviors has a lot of effect on our health and on our mental status. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So basically, what is sedentary behavior? So we all do it. It's anything that we do sitting or reclining, whether it's working online, whether it's reading or knitting or watching TV. And so if we're doing this when we get home from work and we're also doing it at work, we're sitting all the time. And no wonder we've got, the effects of sedentary behavior, that obesity epidemic, okay? And research shows that we're spending half to 2/3 of our workday sitting. And, if you think about a full-time worker, only half of us full-time workers are working 40 hours a week. We're averaging 47 hours per week. And I don't know about you, but a lot of us are working more than that, depending on the week. So half to 2/3 of our day sitting could be, 6-8 hours a day. And that's pretty painful after a while. The overall understanding about activity in everybody's life to maintain weight and health is 150 minutes a day of moderate intensity. Now that intensity is different from the alternatives I'm going to talk to you about today. Those are light intensity. Not that they're not helpful, but they don't work towards that CDC goal, okay? But just to understand that they're two different things. Got a little delay here, so we're getting there. Okay, so some of the research. Time spent sitting, the amount of minutes that we sit, whether it's at work all day long, a strong relationship to all-cause and cardiovascular disease mortality. So not just heart disease, but other diseases, okay? Moderate relationship to diabetes, development of obesity and cancer. And then a large epidemiological study found, again, an all-cause mortality of this time spent sitting. Now, this is independent of physical activity. So if you think about somebody who's running 5 miles a day after work every day or 5 times a week, but that person is still sitting all day long, it doesn't take the place of reducing that risk factor of sitting. You're still sitting all day long. You're getting that, say, moderate activity from running after work, but that sitting is still increasing your risk for all these diseases. And again, the 7% of premature deaths. A little more research. Time spent sitting increases fatigue, lower back discomfort, concentration and focus, increased risk of depression and anxiety. Some research actually shows that staying active during the workday reduces use of sick time. People get more productivity. So, everybody's different. We all have different risk factors. I'm motivated with this because I have a lot of neck trouble. So I need to stay active and do stretches or I'm going to have more pain. So I was really motivated. So things that might hurt me right away, like some of the ergonomics, somebody else might not feel it, but over time you will feel the effects of poor ergonomics. And that's the first piece here, because we are all sitting. So we need to set up our office or our home in an ergonomic way. So looking at your desk and your chair, one of the main parts is making sure that your monitor, top of the monitor is eye level, okay? So when you're looking at somebody on their screen, you can see that their eyes are right at the top of the screen versus looking down, okay? Their elbows and their hips are about a 90 to 120 degree angle. And your feet are flat on the floor, okay? And you have a swivel chair, so you can move around and get to the areas of the desk that you need, okay? So the idea is to sit up straight and have your eyes to the top of your monitor. So your chair is important. Of course, comfortable cushion, and over time they get flat. You get a new chair, you feel like, oh, it feels so comfortable. So I just spent a little bit more money recently on a good chair, and it's an amazing difference, and it has all the adjustability features. The armrests go up and down, and they swivel back and forth. The seat height is adjusted so that way you can get your hip angle correct. The back height can also be adjusted. Lumbar support is key. And to swivel and roll around, because like if you're in a dining room chair or in your bed, well, maybe not your bed, but some people do work in their bed, you're going to reach and strain your back to reach for something on your desk. So if you're swiveling, you're on wheels, you can reach it. But having that adjustability, if you need to spend a couple more dollars, it's worth it. And so if you have a chair that doesn't have lumbar support like this, you can get something from the dollar store like this, I've seen them, and get that curvature back in your spine. Okay, so it's a pretty good way to get that comfortable. And this is like some of the armrests that I saw online, that they go up and down, they go forward and back. And so a standing desk is another option. People will sit and stand to alternate. The same angle with your arm, about a 90-degree angle, should be about an arm's length away from the monitor. Now mine is a little bit further away. Maybe it's about 5 inches away. I don't have an issue with that. You can always make the print bigger. I probably could move things a little closer, but that's their suggestion. A footrest, I've spoken to people who find a footrest very comfortable, and having a mat to stand on, and also comfortable shoes. So if you're going to work wearing heels, leave your sneakers at work and be comfortable, okay? And so there's different types of standing desks. There are, you can see there's a keyboard tray. Some desks are electric or a crank to move them up and down. This one you can see is electric. I wouldn't wear heels. You can see the heels are there. But you can spend, $200 to about $1,000, depending upon style and movement. Oh, sorry, wrong one. It's very slow. Sorry about that. Wow. This is another option where you can have your monitor and keyboard all on this tray, and you can go from sitting to standing with the same desk. Okay. So this I found online for $360. I know my brother used this option. He really enjoyed it. There are also different varieties of these types of options where it could be just your monitor that goes up. But, this one looks pretty good to me. You can also have a do-it-yourself standing desk and just bring in some end tables or side tables and stack them up. So you don't have to spend any money. With this version, you would need to move your laptop or however you're working it out, because you're not going to stand all day long. You do get tired. You can see she has a mat. He's barefoot, but whatever's comfortable. And this is a tip that I also read about, was to position the keyboard where your body's right in front of the letter B, and to keep the mouse right next to the keyboard. You can have an option where the mouse is up higher or lower, and they don't suggest that. So have it right next to the keyboard, and use the F and J bumps on the keyboard so that way you can locate the keyboard in the right position. You don't have to look down. You'd be surprised how often you look down to find your place. And with my neck problems, I just have to feel the bumps and I'm good to go. So that's the ergonomic piece of it and some standing. Now here are some moving options for you. So treadmill, bicycle, and pedals. So we'll start with the treadmill desk. Okay, so this is my office, and you can see I have two different stations. So this is my treadmill desk. This is where I am now. I'm walking, and my desk. And I have a big monitor at each station, and then I just move my laptop from station to station, and everything just plugs right in, okay? I keep my hand weights here. I've got them right on my desk. Make sure you have a stretching mat. I have a roller ball and my water bottles. So have everything right here in your office that you need. I was fortunate that I did have room in my office for a treadmill, but there are other options if you have limited space. Now, when I first started this whole, I got to walk and start moving, I had a treadmill right in this corner of the room. It was a running treadmill. And so what I did was I built this shelf right here, and I built this shelf here, and I just moved the treadmill right to the wall. And that worked for a while, but you can't walk on a running treadmill because you'll burn it out. So you need to buy a walking treadmill, okay? The treadmill that I have, I'll go to the next slide, is it goes from 0.4 to 4 miles per hour. 0.4 is quite slow. Almost you can't walk that slow. I walk about 1.5 miles per hour. So just to explain the treadmill, this is separate from the desk. I chose this desk for a reason. I'll show you that in the next slide. So Lifespan is the brand. The treadmill itself is like a middle model of the three that they make. And you can walk up to 6 hours per day. And that's more than enough for what I need. There's a higher version that goes up to 10 hours per day where you can have like multiple people using the treadmill. It's just me. So and even if you wanted to use this as an exercise to go 4 miles an hour, you could. I don't, but I do 1.5 miles per hour. And also, you don't have to have these shelves. You can actually attach the monitor to the desk if you wanted to. There's like a little opening right here on the front of the desk where you can have a cable and have your monitor up on the top. So the treadmill cost $1,000 and the desk cost $1,000. So it is pricey, but I think about my health issues and the adverse effects of sitting too long and my quality of life, and putting that money in up front versus paying money later down the line for medicine and treatments and things like that. And then I paid extra money to have it assembled and brought to the room. So I wasn't putting all this together. So that's that. Now this is the top of the desk, and it has this great, they call it a steady type keyboard, where as you're walking, it's more comfortable for your wrists. and you're not holding on. It's a very easy, smooth walk and type. I even use the weights, and I lift weights as I'm walking, when especially obviously reading papers where I don't have to type. It really is pretty convenient. And on the shelf to the right has the little control panel where, I turn the machine on and off and increase the speed. And this is the readout that I get that's on the computer. I can see as I go. So I go, like I said, 1.5 miles an hour, and I do about 6 hours a day. So I get at the most about 9 miles per day. And I can tell you how much stronger my legs feel. It's considered light intensity, but it's an amazing strength that you get. And I feel invigorated, really. I mean, I might be tired if I've taken some time off and I start again, but I feel really good when I am walking. So, and all of this information uploads to the Lifespan website. It's part of the Treadmill, and it's free, doesn't cost anything. Calories and all that. So, so that's the Treadmill, and these are some different bike options. So if you have your own bike, you can get one of these trainers and just add a desk, and you can, do your cycling while you're working. I found the cheapest trainer was $60. Or if you can get one of these type of bikes. These are $300. Again, this is another type of option for a desk. But if you can take a look at their the ergonomics, and I see this quite often now that laptops are much more common than the boxes. People are looking down. Anytime I might go in a different room, like if I'm in the other room with the fireplace, I'll bring a bunch of books and put it on the table, and then put my laptop on top of that. So that way the top of the monitor is right there at the top of my eyes. So individuals who are looking down like this for hour after hour, neck pain is going to start. I know in my provider's office, they started with computers, and the way it's set up is they're looking down in order to do their work. And wouldn't you know it, they're all complaining of cervical pain. So it's definitely something to be proactive about and get it set up in an ergonomic way, prevent those injuries. So you can also use your same setup now, your regular desk, and just put pedals under your desk. Okay, different price ranges. When I was a home care nurse, I would encourage my patients to use an option like this. You can alter the resistance with this type of an option. There's no readout or anything, but it just moves your legs. This other option for $159, this desk cycle, there are different speed and resistance, of course, options. The seated elliptical, this one's a little more pricier. This one, I found a study on this one. There's so many studies out there. I could go bonkers reading all these studies, but this one shows that it increases your light activity, statistically your activity levels, reduce use of sick time. Even this little machine here, just a more productivity. You feel like you're not so logy at work and sitting at the desk and boring. You're moving, and you do feel good. So that's pedaling. So pedals, bicycle, standing, and walking. Those are your options. So what's equally as important is stretching and strengthening. So you can do all the exercise, but you also want to make sure that you're doing some strengthening, and you can easily do this with the weights at your desk. Just reading paper. We're all sitting there reading. You can easily get 10 reps in. I'm always doing it. I even do it during staff meetings so people don't even know. I can do this, and I do it right below the level of the thing, and they don't really see it, but I'm getting my reps in. And I use this Aeromat brand mat. It's so soft. You wouldn't imagine. I love those mats. So I keep that right in between my desks and I stretch on there. Stretching at your desk. So you don't even have to leave your desk if you don't want to. But in between an assignment or two, you can see these different shaded areas, the muscles that are all getting tight. Your arms, your shoulders, under your arms, your hips, even these muscles especially, because what I find is when you're typing and working, you tend to get hunched over, and all of these muscles are getting tight. So you need to stretch them. And I put my arms between the doorway, and I go like this, and it stretches all these muscles, and it feels really good. So, you know, every 30 to 60 minutes, more often it can't hurt. And then your eyes, okay? There's a number of things you can do because we're staring at the same distance for hours at a time sometimes. We get so involved, we get into that flow of our work. This first option here is palming, where you put your hands in front of your eyes, you close your eyes and your hands in front for 30 seconds. Then this next one to the right, you look at different distances. And that's like the 20-20 rule down below, where for every 20 minutes, you look 20 feet away for 20 seconds. So I have a window right here to my left, so I will look out there, which is many more feet than 20 feet, and you know, so the idea is just to look in different areas of your office. And this one here, just looking up, down, and around, okay, in a circle. Tend to forget about the eyes. Then you wonder, you know, your eyes are dry, and your posture, okay? So, you know, it's a long day, and by implementing some of these things, you're able to prevent maybe some of this fatigue. Setting a timer with an app, there's a lot of computer apps out there. Some are free, some are not. So find one that works for you. You can also use your phone. I also found online a loop timer where it would every hour or however you set it, it would just redo itself. It would ding and it would restart. So it would be just like a little, it's a website. So let's see what works for you. Next. So, some changes: active desking, stretching, strengthening, and an ergonomic workstation that will be key to reducing fatigue and the desire to sleep under your desk. These are pretty funny pictures. I wonder how comfortable those little head things are. But it really does make a big difference. Even just the monitor height, big difference. Okay, and that's it. That's my presentation. And if you have any questions, I can take them now. Anybody have experience with walking or any active desking techniques you do at home, at the office? I know some people prefer to stand versus to walk versus sitting on a bike. So it is really a personal decision too, and a space decision in your home. So
Hi, Jamie. It looks like Becky asked in the chat box, was it challenging learning to type and walk on the treadmill?
it was not challenging at all. Actually, I started out at 1 mile per hour, and they told me in all the research I did, like usually people have to go pretty slow. I can actually, I'll show you on here. I'm at 1.5 I mean, I feel pretty comfortable. It's pretty smooth. And that's 1.5 an hour. I find if I go faster, I get a little bit, errors. But, so if I have to write, I'll put it down to 1 and I'll take notes. But, so no problems, right? But it's pretty easy for me. I'll lower that a little bit. But otherwise, anybody have any plans for doing it? Doing any of these modalities? Anybody lift weights at the desk? Just one weight?
I haven't thought about before bringing weights into the office, but I have little hand weights, the 3-pound ones. I might bring them in now.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how you can get 10 or 20 reps in no time at all. Even on a phone call, talking to people. You can do it. I'm doing it all the time. Why not? We lose our muscle mass after age 40. So we got to keep it going.
Yeah, and sitting at a desk all day long is rough.
It really is rough. And I find after 10 minutes of doing these up and down, the biceps, and then I do the triceps, just like 10 of each, it makes it just my arms feel strong, and and I'm not a workout geek at all. Believe me, I run from this stuff, but I know I have to do it to stay healthy, to be able to do my job. So you can get it in if you make that concerted effort. So it works.
I had downloaded one of those timers to my computer, and I had just hitting go off, but not actually do it.
Right. You have to actually do it.
Yeah.
And I know the one I used, the screen would go dark. So until you did the 6 minutes, the timer, the screen would stay dark, so you were forced to do it. So it's you have to take a little responsibility of, you got all the tools, but then I could sit there and not go on the treadmill, but after spending all that money, how could you not do it? You got to do it.
Exactly.
So
Thanks, Jamie. I learned a lot.
Very good. I'm glad I could help. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming, and I wish you the best in your health and productivity.